It's game day, Paula. It's game day. Woo!
Yeah,
I'm
Spurs in
excited.
5.
We're going to find out, man. We're going to hear from the opposing view. We have a beat writer for the Minnesota Timberwolves joining us today. So we'll see how that goes.
Prende la vela for Wemby.
You're lighting the candle already. I love it.
Look, the prayer of Wemby.
How sacrilegious is that?
Right? At least it's not Spurs Jesus, dude. That's blasphemous.
That is true.
There we go. Greg's here first. Good morning, Greg. How you doing? Greg says, hit the like button. Jonathan
The like
Pettis
button
is
already,
here.
baby.
Yeah, I saw Jonathan. You reached out to me on Insta, man. I'll get back with you on that as well. I've been busy, man. I spent another weekend with my nieces.
They're all over the place, baby.
Yeah, I took my little niece to the shops at La Cantera, man. And then we went to go eat over there with Sean at P.F. Chang's. And then this morning, my other niece hit me up, Mike. She's like, can you come pick me up and take me to school, Uncle?
Dude, I think you think you're a sucker, dude. I mean, that's basically, you're the uncle, man. You're money bags.
Yeah, they want me to go pick them up because she don't want to take the bus. She's like, I don't want to take the bus. I'm like,
and Miguel Bettis says to take off the undershirt. You know what?
Take it off, Mike.
Spurs get to the Western Conference Finals. I'll do without an undershirt, man.
Yeah. Take off the undershirt. You got to have the guns for that, Mike.
Hey, I slimmed down, dude. I'm going back down, man, the weight-wise.
Yeah. Hey, I told Chica I texted her on the weekend. I told her to make sure she reserves me a room. And she's like, I'm going to put you and Miguelito to work. Because we're hanging pictures, Mike.
Area 210, where the dreams don't fade. From the river walk nights to the Alamo shade. We rise together through the highs and the lows. Area 210, oh, it's the life that we chose.
We're rising together on a game day Monday. My name is Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. This is the Area 210 podcast powered by P.F. Chang's La Cantera and Hard Rock Cafe San Antonio. It is game day round 2 of the NBA playoffs. Spurs against the Timberwolves. A late tip-off for Spurs fans tonight. 8:30 on NBC/Peacock. Spurs favored by 13.5 points. And Joe, I'm a little bit worried about that, man. I believe the Spurs are going to advance to the next round, to the Western Conference Finals, right? But 13.5 points, 13.5 points is a little bit much for a Western Conference semifinals game. So much so that I wonder if Spurs fans are getting a little bit overconfident when it comes to things. So we're going to get a perspective from the other side today, Joe. We have a special guest that's going to come on in about 10 minutes. His name is Andrew Dukowitz. He's a beat writer for the zone coverage in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So he covers the Minnesota Timberwolves. And we're going to get his perspective of things, right? When it comes to their fan base, when it comes to their temperature check. You know how we asked the question last week, the temperature check of Spurs fans, how confident are we going into the second round? What about the other side? I think this is going to be fascinating and interesting to find out the different perspective of things. What do they think of Wemby? Who are they looking at? Who are they saying, hey, check out these players? Is it Jaden McDaniels? I mean, we know that there's a lot of good players with Minnesota, but without DiVincenzo, and it seems as though Shams Charania over the weekend reporting that Ant-Man will be out for the first game, at least possibly the first 2 games.
Hold on there.
Yeah.
Because we got the latest coming in, and it's changed now, Mike. So what we're saying is that right now for game 1, he will be a game time decision, is what they're saying. And I saw this earlier because Chuck McIntyre, he actually went ahead and shared some video. Chuck McIntyre, this is courtesy of KABB 29. And this is what he was saying. He goes, Anthony Edwards traveled with the Minnesota teammates to San Antonio and is now listed as questionable for tomorrow, which is today. This was yesterday. Game 1 against the Spurs. Earlier reports had him playing later in the Western Conference semifinals. They had him playing at least in game 3, right? That maybe he might make an appearance in game 2, but definitely it was like the pulse was he would return for game 3. That's not the case now. He's going to be listed as questionable. And I don't know if it's just a chess move to try to
Yeah.
keep the Spurs guessing. But if you'd have to ask me personally, I don't think he's going to make it for game one.
Okay, first of all, he had his first workout yesterday, and look at the way
Yeah,
he's moving right there.
dude.
Come on,
Exactly,
man.
man.
Come
Come
on.
on.
Now, I understand Chuck McIntyre. He's been in San Antonio media for 2-3 decades. He does a fantastic job. But for some reason, when it comes to this type of information, Shams Charania of ESPN,
Yeah.
those guys, the Brian Windhorses of the world, know more than our local guys do. The injury that he sustained, which is that knee injury, usually takes
Hyperextension.
about 2 weeks to heal.
Yeah.
And it's been a little bit more than 1 week. He had his first workout. He was kind of going through the motions and whatnot. If he goes out there, he's facing the possibility of re-aggravating that injury.
Yeah.
I don't see why they would do it. I mean, why we didn't rush Wemby back? Wemby wanted to play game 3 after the concussion against in round 1, right, against Portland. He wanted to come back, but they held him out.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards going to miss more than likely game 1. I'd be surprised if he's out there for game 2, but we're going to find out. We're going to find out in a moment, Joe. But the temperature check right now. Overconfident or kind of confident right now, Joe?
Yeah, it's I'm confident, that the Spurs will go ahead and beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. Basically what I'm picking, my prediction is another gentleman's sweep. 4-1. Spurs in 5, Mike. What do you like to say? Spurs in 5.
Well, I mean, that's because of Shea.
I mean, that's basically what I'm saying, dude. I'm just thinking it's going to be a gentleman's sweep. That's what my gut is telling me right now. I think the Wolves are going to be good enough to at least steal one game. I don't know if it'll be the second game or the first game here at the Frost Center. They might get one on their own home court. But nonetheless, I still got the Spurs moving on to the third round of the NBA playoffs here. So they'll get past the semifinals.
Yeah, we have 3 games in 5 nights for the Spurs, man, because they're bouncing around. We're basically playing every other day now for the foreseeable future.
There's the schedule right there, Mike. You can see
game
game
1
1 is tonight at 8:30.
Tonight at 8:30. Game 2 at 8:30. Game 3 at 8:30. So these 7:30 tip-offs aren't going to happen anytime soon until at least game 4. And also, keep in mind, it's Peacock for one game, ESPN for the next game, and Amazon for the next.
It's not for the poors, Mike. It's not for the poors.
Jump around and watch this. But it's funny, you're looking at the Spurs team right now. They got the rest that they needed, right? They finished off Portland, gentlemen's sweep. They finished them off in 5. It was pretty dicey at one point there after the concussion. Game 3, the Spurs were down at halftime, and then they flipped the script in the second half and won that game going away, and then ended up winning games 4 and 5. It was a difficult 5-game gentleman's sweep when it came to it all. But I'm looking at this team right now, and I'm thinking to myself, are they, in fact, the best team left in the NBA playoffs? We're down to 8 teams, right? Detroit managed to come back yesterday and come back from 3-1 to win that series in 7.
Who else came back from 3-1?
But the Celtics did not survive. That Sixers team looked good, man. That's a scary team.
You know what it was with the Celtics, quite honestly, Mike? They lived and died by the 3. They made poor shot selection, just chunking up threes, just not playing very good team ball. And at the end of the day, you had Jaden McDaniels out there going on a rant on social media saying that, if he was blaming Embiid for flopping, bro, that was the least of your worries, man. Your whole team played like booty crumbs.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all ain't in there no more because you just didn't play very good, nor did they shoot the ball very well. It was embarrassing if you're a Celtics fan to see your team go down that way to a 76ers team.
It was embarrassing, man. And the Sixers were up by 18 points late in the third quarter. Celtics got it down to 1 with about 4.5 minutes to go in the game.
We do have our guest on standby.
3 straight possessions there where they couldn't take the lead. Had they taken the lead, they would have won that game. But all they started to do was just chunking up more and more threes and missing more and more threes. I'm glad the Celtics are out, man. I hate that team. I'm glad they're out. But we do have a special guest today. Joining us from Minneapolis, Minnesota, Andrew Dukowitz. He's a beat writer for the T-Wolves on zone coverage. Andrew, my man, what's going on?
Not a whole lot. Thanks for having me on.
Well, we find this to be, first of all, we're honored to have you on our podcast because here's the thing. We tried doing this with the Trailblazers, and none of their beat writers, none of their podcasters wanted to jump on, but you were gracious enough to say that you wanted to be on this show, so we appreciate it. But we wanted to get the perspective from T-Wolves fans because, going to be honest with you, before the playoffs started, Spurs fans, when it came to like who were concerned about playing, a lot of Spurs fans low key feared the Minnesota Timberwolves because Anthony Edwards plays so well against the Spurs, but then he went down with an injury. And we thought that there was going to be no way the T Wolves were going to advance past Denver. I got to ask you, as a beat writer, as a fan of the T Wolves, how surprised were you that Minnesota got out of the first round and won that game 6 going away?
Yeah, I mean, getting out of the first round, I wasn't too surprised. I picked them to take the Nuggets. I think a lot of people on the Wolves beat had them upsetting the Nuggets just because this team's been weird all season. They've been able to kind of rise to the occasion, but then they just don't. They're just not able to like sustain that rise, if that makes sense. They've been very up and down. I think once the 3-1 lead kind of happened over the Nuggets, I think that's when can that Nuggets team really beat the Wolves even at a diminished form 3 straight times. Game 6 I think was special for Minnesota. I think it's more telling of like what was going on with Denver and kind of the mess that they have going on in their roster and organization. But yeah, it was unexpected. I mean, especially once we saw DeSumo wasn't going to be playing. Once we kind of heard that Ant would be missing at least a couple weeks, you doubted a little bit more. But yeah, I think most people in this series against the Spurs, though, kind of have this journey coming to an end.
I was going to ask you something, Andrew. In the absence of Anthony going down, right? Anthony Davis there going down. You've had some other players step up. You look at, what they've done with not only Randall, but McDaniels and also Terrence Shannon stepping up, Nas Reed stepping up. They played very well in that closeout game against the Nuggets. So even though you have one man down on your team, which is a big person to miss from your team, one of your best players, your star player there, you still have the supporting cast that played very well in his absence. So to me, that says that even though I'm going to be honest, I got the Spurs winning in 5. I think that the T-Wolves are going to be very competitive, and it's going to be a very physical series that they're going to play against the San Antonio Spurs, because when you move on to the round of 2, everything gets amplified, the intensity, the physicality. And I look and see what the Timberwolves have done, and I got to say, I think they are a scrappy team. That's just my opinion. I mean, what have you thought about your own team without Anthony Davis?
Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, I mean, without
I'm saying
Ant,
Anthony Edwards. I'm sorry.
No problem.
My bad.
Without Ant, it's been, they've played without Ant this season already.
Yeah.
They kind of know what they are without Ant, which when Ant isn't playing, their offense goes from a top 10 offense to a bottom 5 offense,
Yeah.
but their defense goes from like a rank 9 or 8 or 9 defense to the best defense in the league when Ant hasn't been playing. So they know how to win these games without him. They just slow it down. They grind it out. Rudy Gobert has been exceptional this season. Jaden, as you mentioned, especially against the Nuggets, was phenomenal. Jaden, I think a lot of people in Minnesota have been hoping he would take this leap for the last couple seasons, but it seems like in this playoffs, he's finally taking that, like, can this guy be the second or third option on a playoff team type of leap? And really, Jaden's, when I'm looking at the Spurs, he's the one I'm kind of looking at of the Spurs don't really have an option for him. Jaden, when you haven't been watching a lot of Wolves games, he's a guy that kind of lives in that Kevin Durant, like mid-range post pull-up range. He's listed at 6'9", but he's probably closer to 7 foot, really good handle, and he's just a menace on defense. And I think, going both ways, he'll probably be guarding Fox most of the game. And then on offense, it's hard to see if, like a Keldon Johnson or a Harrison Barnes can kind of keep up with his athleticism. That's not to say he's going to score 32 in a closeout game and be the best player on the court with, a Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. But I do think he's going to pose a lot of problems for the Spurs. And then on your other point of just like this team being scrappy, they love being the underdogs. Talked to Gobert earlier this week, and he was kind of talking about that this team really likes it when no one believes in them. They really like being underdogs. They do feel like they're a scrappy, really bonded together team. They have a lot of guys that are just like kind of just guys that mess things up. Like Io DeSumo really gets in, messes up actions. Mike Conley's still kind of a pesky little guard. Rudy obviously maybe had the best playoff series of his career. And then Jaden is just kind of the head of everything with this defense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jaden McDaniels, 32 points in the closeout game, game 6 against the Nuggets. It's been fun to watch his rise, to be honest with you, because I like the swagger that he has. He's a pest. He wants to get under your skin. He's a little bit of a bully. I dig it. I like him a lot. Now, you don't think that there's going to be anybody on the Spurs who can kind of counteract him a little bit. But defensively, the Spurs play team defense more than anything else. It's kind of like filter it through to Wemby, right? If you get by our first guy, Wemby's back there, right? But when you look at it from a T-Wolves beat writer perspective, fan perspective, you look at the Spurs, what do you see in this team that is like that the T-Wolves have to somehow overcome?
Yeah, I mean, it's the guard play for the Spurs. I know Wemby is going to get a lot of the talking points, but Rudy has played really well against Wemby in the past. And, Rudy reflected quite a bit this week of just like he's known Wemby since he was 13. He's been kind of Wemby's speed dials for most of his professional career. Even telling him what water filters to buy, which weird Rudy connection. But I do think Rudy is going to be able to at least hold him in check a little bit. It'll be weird to see Rudy Gobert looking small on a basketball court, but it is what it is, right? Julius has also been able to kind of match Wemby's kind of physicality, I would say, at least. Most notably, the last time the Spurs were in town, Randall kind of forced him out of the paint quite a bit, which is something the Wolves are going to have to do. The guard play, though, the Wolves just don't have enough on defense as currently constructed. With DiVincenzo going out with the Achilles injury, it really leaves them with only Ant, Jaden, and Io as like plus defenders on the defensive like wing side. And when you have Harper, Castle, and Fox, that's going to be a concern all series of how do you contain all three of them on the perimeter and not let them kind of get into the heart of the defense and force Rudy to make those difficult decisions of like, do you kind of front up and help the guard, or do you give up the alley-oop behind you? But that was kind of the same thought we had with Denver was, how are they going to be able to contain Murray? How are they going to be able to contain Brown and Jokic kind of running everything from the top of the post as well? So again, the guards are things that concern me, but the Wolves are coming into this, at least everyone in the locker room thinks that they're going to come into this and pull another upset. So
yeah, we do have some super chats we got to address here, Mike. So let me go ahead and show those on screen.
Here comes the money.
And we got an incoming super chat from Tony Ornalis. Appreciate the support. And he says, Spurs' secret weapon from McDaniels is Carter Bryant. Okay. And then we got another one coming in from Midtown, Texas.
Money talk. Here comes the money.
Again, thank you so much for the support. He says, Spurs in 4. He's calling it a sweep.
Not even a gentleman's sweep.
No,
we see. Andrew Dukowitz, by the way, is a beat writer for the Minnesota Timberwolves for zone coverage. I was talking about this on Friday of last week, Andrew, that the Spurs don't have much tape on what's going on with Minnesota because of all the injuries, because Anthony Edwards is not there, because Dante DiVincenzo's out for the season with that Achilles injury. There's not a lot of tape. So it's like, how do you prepare for a team that you've never seen assembled other than the last 2 quarters of that game against Denver? That's what I'm looking into. So if you were to say puncher's chance, if this and this and this happen, the T-Wolves have a chance to surprise the Spurs in game 1. What are the dominoes that need to fall?
Yeah, I mean, surprising the Spurs in game 1 is probably the best chance the Wolves are going to have to steal one in San Antonio. Really, Jaden's got to be the game 6 Jaden that we saw from Denver. He has to be aggressive. He has to be taking it off the bounce and just attacking at all kind of points. Ant also got listed as questionable yesterday. It sounds like he's trending to be back sooner rather than later. He is hopeful, I've heard, that he's going to play tonight, which would be wild after suffering a bone bruise and a hyperextended knee 8 days ago, that he would be back on a basketball court already. And then the other side of it is Julius needs to have a better series against San Antonio than he did against Denver. He was pretty solid defensively against Denver, but he really didn't have that like 28-point triple double that he's been putting up pretty consistently in Minnesota in big games. Never really had that. And he wasn't particularly like guarded by Gordon or anything out of the ordinary. So he needs to kind of figure out how to be that playmaking forward, the Diet Coke LeBron, if you will. I think if those two things go right, they're going to have a really good shot at stealing this first game. I think, again, to your point, though, like when you don't know if Ant's playing, when you don't know if Io's playing, that changes everything game plan wise. So it is going to be a really difficult game for the Spurs to kind of prepare for. Obviously, if Ant and Io aren't playing, the talent difference is going to be apparent, but it's still a weird kind of situation to have to figure out if you're the coach.
Spurs
You-
fans are pretty confident right now. We saw somebody in the chat saying in four,
in
a lot of
four,
stuff
yeah.
saying gentlemen sweep. What's the temperature check in Minneapolis right now when it comes to T-Wolves fan? I mean, are they giving them their team a chance? Is it more of a wishful thinking, hopeful thinking? How would you describe the fan base right now in Minnesota?
Yeah, fan base is weird in Minnesota. I'll be honest. There's all season they have been frustrated out of their minds because as early as November, Chris Finch was saying the team looks like they're bored. Ant has been saying since before Christmas that they're just kind of waiting for the playoffs, and they limp into the playoffs as the 6th seed injured, and then they go out and just kind of pull the upset on Denver, which got the fans kind of re-engaged on, oh, this team actually does have a shot. But Spurs are a different animal. Like Denver, with Aaron Gordon being out, with kind of the injuries that they had, I think they were able to kind of patch things together and take advantage of just, it was a weird Denver team with everybody just it honestly, watching that series looked like they didn't like each other or didn't like playing basketball with each other, which is never like a good sign. The Spurs are like a really connected unit from what I can see from the outside. I think fans are confident though. This is a team that kind of hangs their hat on the defensive side of the floor. And if they can kind of get the Spurs into a rock fight, I think the team feels pretty confident too. The last thing I'd just say is like, I think another thing the Wolves experienced 2 years ago is something that the Spurs are going to experience at some point in this playoffs, of just like when the games start to be every other day and you are playing 7 or 8 players, 30, 40 minutes, like that's hard. And for guys like Wemby, for guys like Fox, who haven't really had a good postseason run, the young guys, Harper, Castle, even like Keldon Johnson, Harrison Barnes obviously has been on deep playoff runs, but for the vast majority of the Spurs team, they haven't really had to go through the like grueling 4 weeks of playing every other day. And that's something the Wolves they're confident in. They have been kind of idling all season for the playoffs. All of them take really good care of their bodies. And I think they are kind of at least confident that they're going to be able to be like in shape, mental, physically ready for kind of this grueling series.
I was going to ask you a question, Andrew, because I've been watching
Yeah.
the Minnesota Timberwolves series, right, against the Nuggets, seeing what they did and what they didn't do. One of the things that I can see that Minnesota's not very good at, but one of the things that they are good at is scoring inside the paint. The one thing they're not good at is shooting the three, but it kind of counteracts itself because they might not be able to shoot the three at a healthy clip, but they sure can get the easy shots inside the paint, high percentage shots, and they can go to the stripe and they can go ahead and, earn their points that way as well. Even though that the game might slow down at times for them, it seems like they play really good in the half court set, being very aggressive going towards the rim. So that's one of the things that is a cause of concern as a Spurs fan, is if they're going to be aggressive going towards the rim and they're going to be able to get to the free throw line, that to me is going to be a sign that the Spurs are going to have to play a really good, clean game, because if they get caught up in that early on, we can see some of the star players get in trouble and get on the bench because they're going to be in foul trouble early on. So that's something for me to kind of look at in particular to see what's going to happen there. The other thing that I can see that happens with the Spurs at times, and where I can see Minnesota really going ahead and pressuring them, It's taking away the things the Spurs like to do: run in the open court, right? Use their speed and athleticism, and make it a half court set. Kind of slow the game down a little bit. That will bother them. Playing that type of zone sometimes that the Spurs get caught up in, they start making poor decisions with the ball, start shooting ill-advised threes, things like that, and then they start coming back and getting back to playing Spurs basketball. But there's a lot of plus and minuses on both sides of the game. What have you seen so far? Like, have you seen the same things out of Minnesota as far as them being very aggressive going towards the rim?
Yeah, it's interesting because all season they have been a settle for 3-point team. I mean, they for a while were leading the league in true shooting, and they were playing like a very kind of set, drive and kick, spread it out type of offense. And then the Nuggets series happened, and they changed pretty much their entire identity. And that's what you noticed. Like,
Yeah.
they saw that Jokic was not going to be able to defend the rim, and they just attacked it constantly. Especially like Ant when he was playing, Jaden, Julius, Io, all just putting pressure on the rim at pretty much every possession. I would assume that's going to be how they kind of come into this Spurs series, is looking like, hey, we got to put pressure on Wemby. We got to get some of these guys in foul trouble. Let Rudy kind of set screens and move guys out of the way and just kind of keep the gas going. But they also are a sneaky good 3-point shooting team. Not as good when Ant isn't in the lineup, and obviously Dante is one of the volume shooters in the league, and his Achilles is going to keep him out until next season. But like, they have this ability on offense to reinvent themselves, which is something they prioritize throughout the season. Of they can put Mike and Kyle Anderson in there and play kind of a more point forward, really smart, slow it down type of team. They can throw TJ, Io, Ant, and Jaden out there and just play full metal transition type of offense. Their offense is really fluid. With their defense, it's a lot more set of like, put Rudy on the best post player, put Jaden on the best perimeter player. Everyone else just don't give up a three, and we'll see where it goes. But yeah, it is interesting because this team also has had a tendency of making those bonehead decisions as well. They have 25 turnovers in game 5. They had, I think, 8 in game 6. So if you catch the Wolves on a bad night, they are going to be turning the ball over constantly as well.
Joined by Andrew Dukowitz, who's a beat writer for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Joe, I like this comment from Midtown Texas, calling him Minnesota Pledge. We have a friend who's a beat writer as well.
Pledger.
He's a radio host named James Pledger. Very similar mannerisms. You get to the X's and O's. You even got the beard and everything, so that's very cool.
We do got a super chat we got to address.
We do, but I like this one real fast. SGA is 10 times better than Ant, and then the other one says no, Ant's better than SGA. It's funny how Spurs fans are when it comes to SGA, because I think, be honest with you, I agree with the person who was in our chat, powered by PF Chang's La Cantera, saying I'm more fearful of a healthy Anthony Edwards than I am a healthy SGA.
Yeah.
For some reason, SGA does not play well against the Spurs, at least this season anyway. But go ahead and play that super chat there, Joe.
Money talk. Here comes the money.
And this is from Greg Castanuela.
Great question. Why was Minnesota hiding Shannon? He's a lefty like Dylan Harper.
Yeah.
Why were they hiding him in the back of the bench? What was going on there?
So TJ's had a couple things this year. One, he's been injured all season. He's been dealing with like a busted up foot that has just, anytime he's really gotten a chance, that foot flares back up, and then he's kind of put back on ice and put back to the end of the bench. The other thing with TJ is when he was in the rotation, Finch mentioned that, he would start showing up on scouting reports, and TJ has some very large flaws on defense. He tends to get caught in that no man's land where it's like you're not really contesting a three and you're not really doubling the guy that you're trying to double. And that stuff drives Chris Finch absolutely insane. So I think between the injury and just getting into the doghouse from some of these defensive things, he's just really not had much of a chance this season. On offense, though, he is so fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like he just plays like a daredevil. He puts his head down and just runs straight at people and just rolls them over on the way to the rim. And then he has a pretty good outside shot too. So especially if Ant's out injured and if Bones doesn't really, how Finch has been managing Bones in the playoffs is kind of like, here's your first shift. If it goes well, you can have a second one. If Bones doesn't have a good first shift, you're probably seeing TJ get some more run against the Spurs, which, he's going to pose some problems. He's a super physical, like 6'6" guard. And I just wanted to hop in on your Shea versus Ant take as well. I think Ant gets a lot. He's a pure hooper is what I would say. Like, Ant does not go for fouls. He hates that part of the game. He prides himself on just being a hooper. And I think when you're someone our age, in your 30s and older, and you're used to watching like 90s, 2000s basketball, those type of players just, they hit a certain spot in your heart. So I think Ant gets a bigger fan base, but like Shea is just, between the foul stuff and between just like the skilled offense, he's just a whole different animal. But when you're looking against the Spurs, Ant does give them problems. Like, Ant does not fear anybody. So it doesn't matter if Wemby's under the basket.
Let me ask you this question real fast, because I have to get into it. I think Spurs fans are in a bubble. We live in a certain cocoon of comfort and safety of other Spurs fans. Joe and I have talked about this for a couple of months, and now the national media is starting to use this phrase as well about the Spurs, which is arrogance. But it's a confidence that borderlines on arrogance, right? We saw the Spurs use the phrase, Wemby in particular, use the phrase ethical basketball earlier in the year. We saw Wemby and to some extent Keldon Johnson advocate for themselves to win awards, whether it be Wemby for MVP or Keldon Johnson, who did win the Sixth Man of the Year award. From the outside looking in, from a Minnesota perspective, what were your thoughts on hearing the Spurs use the phrase ethical basketball to basically deflect against SGA and for them to advocate for their own awards?
I mean, I would say the Wolves feel the same way. Like, the Wolves feel like they play ethical basketball. They don't hunt for fouls. They don't, do the arm bar stuff that you see SGA do. That's part of the reason why there's that so much kind of animosity with the Nuggets is Jamal Murray does a lot of the same things. Jokic at points in that series was also doing quite a bit of like flailing and trying to get Rudy in foul trouble. And the Wolves hate that stuff. Like they don't subscribe to that. Finch has gotten countless fines for calling out kind of the foul issues in the NBA. So I think when I'm looking at this series, that's honestly one of the things I'm most excited about is just two teams that don't hunt for fouls, two teams that play the game the right way. They're both very team basketball oriented, where they both kind of spray the ball out, and any given night, two or three different guys can go for 20. It's going to be a really fun series. I know a lot of people in your chat have been saying Spurs in 4, but like as a basketball fan, I really hope it goes 7 because it's just going to be fun to watch.
Yeah. And we do got some incoming super chats we got to address before they get
the one from Sam is well, Andrew, welcome to San Antonio on this one. Sam Salinas reaches out to us and says,
Here comes the money.
Our guest just called SGA a free throw merchant in a politically correct way. Give him the old man grito. Welcome to San Antonio. Here's the grito for you.
You're going to get the old school grito.
Presumir a mis amigos les conté que en el amor.
There's a lot of pain in that grito there, Mike. That man's been
I'm honored. Thank you.
That old man's been through some things. He's seen some things, Mike. He's seen some things.
Andrew's going to go back and tell his friends, someone spent $5 to hear that.
Hey, if you're spending $5 to hear that, you have more expendable income than I do.
The thing is, we have other versions of it as well, by the way.
We have the chancla, Mike getting hit with the chancla in the face, him singing that song. Ole, ole, ole.
Okay.
Stupid,
No,
stupid.
that's that question. Okay, so the Spurs, I don't know how much you follow this, but Wemby has his own fan section at the arena at the Frost Bank Center called the Jackals, right? They're leading the arena in chants at the end of the game. If the Spurs win, they bring out the bass drum
Kind of like they do in
pound
soccer.
the drum. What are your thoughts on Wemby wanting to have a soccer-like atmosphere at the game? Because when you watch the game tonight, you're going to hear it in on TV, everyone chanting, trying to have this soccer type environment. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I cover the Lynx as well as the Wolves up here in Minnesota, and that's something a lot of the European players that come to the Lynx kind of talk about, is how the NBA fan is more like it's an entertainment, right? Like you're going to a show or a movie. It's not quite as loud at times. Whereas like the European fan in those soccer atmospheres, it is much more like they are on the field. Like it is their duty to try and, like, for good or for bad, encourage the team. And honestly, I love it. Like, I wish more teams would kind of embrace that type of stuff of like, hey, don't be on your phones during the game, throw people on the Jumbotron and shame them for not wearing the t-shirt that's given out. Like, especially when it comes to playoffs, like it should be a soccer type of atmosphere where people are going crazy. I will say the Wolves fans, they don't have as many chants, but they are loud.
Yeah. Very cool.
Hey,
By
we
the
also
way,
have another incoming super chat, Mike. We got to get to here.
yeah, and also Tony has a great compliment for him as well.
This is Mario Cavazos. So thank you, Mario, for the super chat. No Wolves asked Rudy Gay for the water filter advice.
Rudy Gobert.
Oh,
Yeah,
Rudy
yeah.
Gobert.
So
Correct. No one on the Wolves asked Rudy Gobert for water filter advice. We asked him specifically if Ant would ask him that, and Rudy's response was, "I pray for that day." So someday, maybe.
That was a great storyline. I mean, that was a throwaway story that Wemby, they asked Rudy Gobert, what's Wemby asking for advice and things like that, because he called me asking about water filtration systems. I mean, that's interesting. By the way, Tony Ornelas in our chat says Andrew knows ball. That is the biggest compliment that the Area 210 Necios would ever give you. The listeners like you already.
You know what?
Are we going to ask Andrew? Are we going to have him ask for a prediction on tonight's game?
We are,
the
but
spread being 13, 14 points, I think is insulting, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I think the Spurs win by 7 tonight. Personal opinion.
I wanted to show him something, Mike. I wanted to get his personal opinion on you, because Mike, I'm going to go ahead and give you the backstory here. In the beginning, when the Jackals came out, Mike really wasn't a fan, so he started his own chant, and he would say. And they would say, ole, 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 go Spurs, go Spurs. So Mike was at the game. He heard him chanting. He was like, ole, 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 stupid, stupid. Because he wasn't a fan of the Jackals at the time. So I'm going to go ahead and play the video. It's a little animation that I made. And it has actual video, not the video, but the soundbite of him saying that. So you tell me what you think about this.
Ole, 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 you're stupid, stupid.
It went viral. It's adding noise to the building, right?
You see, what Andrew doesn't know is that actually went viral, and people started getting after our podcast because how dare we go against Wemby's fan?
We made the Jackals infamous. We made them famous.
Yeah, it's like they rallied around the Jackals. No one cared about the Jackals beforehand. In fact, a lot of people didn't like them. But the second that Joe and I started making fun of them, the city rallied around them, and it was like a viral moment for our show in a negative way. But what happened, Joe? I was at the Rocket Spurs game in Houston.
You showed your belly.
He says I showed my belly because I went up to the Jackals. This was weeks after the whole controversy, and I apologized to them, and I said, hey, man, probably a little bit overboard. My bad. He says I showed my belly. But then after that, after we reconciled, the Spurs have gone on a huge tear. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that's the reason, but I'm saying that it's not the reason is what I'm saying.
Mike's had a lot of moments. He's had a lot of moments, Andrew. I'm going to share another moment that Miguelito, I call him, has had here. He said before the season, and I have the receipt to prove it. This is what he said before the season started.
It was a punt.
No,
that was 2 years ago.
The Spurs have no intention of winning this season.
That was 2 years ago.
And it's a punt into the future.
Okay, let me ask you this, Andrew. First of all, why must you lie, Joe? We have a special guest on the show.
No, I'm not
Andrew
lying.
from Zone Coverage, covering the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Lynx. And you're lying, Joe. That is a soundbite from 2 years ago. That was when they signed Chris Paul, and I said, "Oh, so we're not going to go for the playoffs this year. We're getting a 39-year-old point guard. We're
God.
not going after a superstar. We're not going for a trade. We're not trading for Giannis. We're not trading for anybody." I said, "Oh, we got Chris Paul. Great. It's a punt. It's a rebuilding year." And Joe, why must you lie?
It's
Why?
funny either way because Mike says some things that just come out of him like out of left field, and he didn't even agree with what the MVP chants either in the beginning of the season, and now you've come around because he's played a lot better. And we're both hard on Wemby. It wasn't just Mike; it was me too. And I've gone on to go ahead and sign the Wemby apology form. And you know what? Since I signed that form, Wemby's been on a tear, Mike.
Oh, no, it coincides with you signing the form and me showing
It
my
does.
belly to the Jackals. But it's funny because I wanted to get that outside perspective of Wemby. Is Wemby the face of the NBA in your perspective? Or is he, or who is the face of the NBA right now? Because Anthony Edwards could have been it, but I don't know. I don't know if he necessarily wants it. Do you believe that whole face of the NBA nonsense, or because I ask you this question. I don't know many people who are like clamoring to watch Jason Tatum play ball.
Yeah. I mean, I think the face of the NBA, unfortunately, is still the older generation. I think it's still kind of the Jokic, Giannis, Shea, Steph type of thing. But I do think
LeBron.
LeBron, I think has passed the torch a little bit, at least.
Yeah.
He's not quite as active
Yeah.
in doing his LeBron stuff. But I mean, to your point, Ant doesn't want to be the face of the NBA. Like, that dude does not want the attention. He just wants to play video games. He wants to he wants to take a Kevin Durant approach where it is play video games, hoop, and nothing in between, really. I think, unfortunately for Ant, he is maybe the most charismatic human being I've ever met in my life. And just like being around him, he's just constantly engaging. He's very like polite and friendly. I don't think he's going to have a choice in the matter. I think in 2 or 3 years, it is going to be like Ant and Wemby are the two faces of the league. And it's really just kind of kind of more or less like, what style of play do you like better? Do you like the flashy Ant trash talking, kind of in your face style of ethical basketball? Or do you like the Wemby, the more reserved, the more kind of thoughtful, the more kind of vulnerable type of basketball that he plays with, where it's, big, loud, but he's not sitting there trash talking people to their face and going viral constantly for telling President Obama to stand back. So
We do got a super chat we got to address here, and this is gonna be a funny one for Andrew.
And by the way, Andrew, as much time as you want on this show, man. I know we promised you 30 minutes, and it's been 30 minutes, but we go on for another 30. But you can be on as long as you want. $1.99, Joe. You know that the Gritos cost $5. Why is Tony giving us 2?
He's on the budget, man. So I'm gonna let it slide. But
It's the first of the month was on Friday, man.
he needs some help, bro. It's okay. It's all
All
good.
right.
So
But
he's saying,
in honor of Andrew,
Sit go grito for you, Andrew. So this is the gas station that's right around the place from where I live, right? It's
hood.
over here in the hood where we call Marbach, right? So I put this old man in front of there, and everybody in San Anto, we have an uncle that does this kind of stuff at the barbecue or what have you. So this one's for you, Andrew.
Todos me pegan toda la pura verga, me trepan a la verga. Mira.
That old man's still there in front of the
great.
Citgo, Mike.
That's great. Hey, Joe, we got to show Andrew something real fast before we let him go, or before, and does have to leave now. But Joe, I'm going to put it on my Twitter account right now. What it's like after the Spurs win a game.
Oh God.
Okay, so Joe, I'm reposting it right now. Okay, Andrew, here's the thing, man. It'd been 7 years since the Spurs won a playoff game. It'd been in the playoffs. It'd been 9 years since the Spurs had won a series in the playoffs. And I know that we've had won 5 rings, but this is what it's like, no doubt, all over San Antonio when the Spurs win a single playoff game. And if they win tonight, this is what's going to go down downtown. Andrew, that's not winning. That's not winning the NBA Finals. That's winning Game 1 of the Western Conference Summits. That was winning Game 3 against the Trailblazers a couple weeks ago. What are your thoughts on the city of San Antonio getting a little bit insane?
You know, the Wolves won a playoff game about 4 years ago, and Pat, Bev, and Ant took their jerseys off and jumped on the scorer's table, and everyone in the crowd just went bananas and then stayed there for a while. So when you haven't won for a while, some crazy stuff happens. That's kind of been the weird evolution of like Wolves fans over the last 3 years. Is this team has been so bad for so long that the first, they make it in through the play-in, they win one game against Memphis, and like people are so excited. Next season they come in, they win one game against the Nuggets, people are really excited. And now that they've been to back-to-back Western Conference Finals, it's there's just not that excitement anymore.
Yeah.
Kind of like show us something better and new. But hey, shout out to Spurs fans. You guys deserve it. It was hard. Must be hard going from all of those championships to nothing for a few years.
Rafa asking the question in our chat, powered by PF Chang's like that. It says, when T-Wolves fans win a game, do they go pure themselves at Lake Minnetonka?
Some do. I guarantee it.
That's great.
Shout
By the
out
way,
Prince.
I respected that in Game 6 against the Nuggets. Hearing Prince's 1999, they were playing the Rocky theme song. Whoever was in charge of the music there at that stadium over there was doing their job well.
Yeah, it's very Prince heavy at honestly all of the events up here. Vikings games have quite a few Prince songs playing. Twins put Prince stuff out. I don't go to a lot of Wild games. I hear that's the sport that they play on ice, but I'm sure they do it too.
Well, very nice. Well, that is Andrew Dukowitz. I hope I was pronouncing your name correctly. We'll let you go so you can enjoy your day, but enjoy tonight's game against the Spurs. Game 1 tonight at the Frost Bank Center at 8:30 tip-off Central Time. It's going to be a what on Peacock tonight, right, Joe?
Yeah, tonight is going to be on the Peacock, and the next game is going to be on ESPN. Game 3 will be on Amazon Prime. So like I said, you're going to have to go ahead and have subscriptions to all these.
Real fast, we need a series and a Game 1 prediction from Andrew for tonight's game. We won't tell the T-Wolves fans. This is just you're in a safe space. You're in the trust tree.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think the Wolves are going to be able to do it twice. I do expect this to be a long series, though, so I think it is going to be Spurs in 6 or 7. If it's like a gun to my head situation, I'd say Spurs in 7, just because the Wolves have been really good on their home floor this year. But it's the Spurs upsetting the Spurs is a different animal than upsetting the Nuggets.
Wait, real fast. Sam has a question for you before he lets you go. He says, quick question. How much do Minnesota Wild fans hate the Dallas Stars?
All of them. there is a lot of, I'm not a hockey expert. I'm not even a casual hockey fan. I know next to nothing about hockey. I know that the North Stars moving to Dallas has put generational trauma into people in Minnesota. There is real hate between the fans and that franchise. I don't even think it has anything to do with the players or like how the series went. I think it's literally just because they stole the North Stars from Minnesota.
Understood. You can follow Andrew, by the way, at ADukeMN on Twitter. Give him a follow as well. Andrew, you know what? If this turns out to be a long series, a Game 6 or a Game 7, we're going to want to have you back on, man.
Yeah,
but thank you so much. You've been dubbed. You've got to see two gritos. I hope you enjoy them. He's been dubbed Minnesota Pledge.
Yeah.
We'll do a side-by-side graphic of the two later on today on Twitter because very similar.
Well, thank you guys for having me. It was a blast, and for sure, if this series goes more than 4, I'd be happy to come back on.
Fantastic, Andrew.
All
thanks
right.
for being on, man.
Thank you,
Zone
Andrew.
coverage in Minnesota. Go Spurs, go! You take care, Joe. Let's show some love to one of our sponsors, man. Let's give some love to PF Chang's La Cantera.
PF Chang's La Cantera, San Antonio's premier destination for dinner, date night, or happy hour. Enjoy one of their signature dishes, such as the Singapore street noodles, sesame chicken, or Chang's spicy chicken, or their infamous Chang's chicken lettuce wraps, which are delicious, by the way. You can enjoy all this while you're dining in an Asian-inspired atmosphere. And make sure to enjoy the new outdoor patio and try some of P.F. Chang's signature cocktails and drinks during happy hour, Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. P.F. Chang's La Cantera is a proud sponsor of the Area 210 podcast. All right, so Mike will be back here shortly. I'll go ahead and take him out of the stream until he shows up. There he is. He's back now. So what we're going to do is go ahead and give some love, because I was out there at P.F. Chang's earlier, and well, not earlier, but this weekend. I was out there on Saturday with my niece. We did eat over there at P.F. Chang's, and we enjoyed it. I had me the lychee, and I had a Sapporo beer out there while I was out there hanging out with her. And we also ate very well. You know, Sean was a gracious host out there. He got your boy a table and everything, so I could go and dine with my little niece. So again, if you want to go ahead and try the $8.99 signature cocktail collection, again, I highly recommend the lychee. Tried it again on Saturday. It's always very good. So go out there and give them some support. And if you go out there, tell them the Area 210 sent you.
Yeah, Chica likes the lychee martini from P.F. Chang's as well, man. Fantastic. You never know if a Spurs player is going to show up.
Yeah.
We had Carter Bryant there last week. You never know. It's right next to the Spurs club where the Spurs play, or practice rather.
Yeah. I guess I even heard that little birdie says that Champagne goes out there from time to time.
Very cool, man. That's awesome. Very cool. That was nice having Andrew Dukowitz from the zone coverage for the Minnesota Timberwolves out there. Like I said, we tried doing this with the Portland Trailblazer fan base, with their podcasters, with their beat writers, and none of them jumped at the opportunity, but this guy did. It was good to have, and I like the fact that they were calling him Minnesota Pledge. That's great, man. Because you know what, he had the same mannerisms, he had the same insight. You know, when it came to it all, very X's and O's oriented. I respect it. You know, it wasn't a fan base driven conversation. He was doing the X's and O's, and he was talking about players like McDaniels. Who on the Spurs is going to stop McDaniels tonight?
Yeah,
because he's been going off. He averaged 18 points in the series against the T-Wolves, against the Nuggets rather. He's been getting under the skin of a lot of players, right? He's been a pest out there. So who's going to guard him? I think that if Anthony Edwards goes out there, he's just going to hurt himself all over again. I know that they're doing that whole game time decision nonsense. He ain't going to play, dude. That video that Chuck McKinnon showed on KBB, he's barely walking. You're going to tell me that he's going to play an NBA game?
He could have been playing lame, too, just for the cameras, Mike.
Oh, come on, man. Get out of here. It's a 2 to 4 week injury. He's not going to come back in 6 days or 7 days or however long it's been.
And look at this. This is going back to show you the matchups that the San Antonio Spurs and the Minnesota Timberwolves have had in the past, right? So they've met a total of 8 times. I mean, they've had 2 playoff series that they've gone against each other with.
Yeah.
And Spurs have won both of those series 3-1, which means it's been a gentleman's sweep. So if we go and look at the history, you would think as a Spurs fan that you would want that to replay. Of course, now you got to get 4 wins to go ahead and move on. But nonetheless, I think it's going to probably be, in my opinion, a gentleman's sweep. May go 6 games depending on the Spurs as well. If they have, 2 bad nights, or if they have Ant-Man come back, for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and he just surprises everybody and puts on a spectacular performance and just goes off in that fourth quarter. Because let's not forget, Mike, he's very dangerous in that fourth. He might not have a very good game for the first 3 quarters. Then all of a sudden, he just goes out of his mind and then just starts making threes and just being Ant-Man.
Back when the Spurs were winning titles, I used to always say that in order to beat the Spurs in the playoffs, you need to beat them twice in San Antonio. Yeah. Because the Spurs are going to win 1 over there. Right? You give the Spurs 3 opportunities to go on the road. This was back in the day, the Tim Duncan, the Tim Tony Manu days, the Kawhi days. You give them 3 opportunities to win on the road, they're going to win at least 1. So the Spurs have home court advantage. You got to beat them twice. And we saw that with Portland, right? Portland came and stole game 2. And that's the attitude that Minnesota has to play when it comes to coming over to San Antonio, starting tonight with game 1, is that they have to come at it with a business trip mindset of, we just need to steal 1 game. Just steal 1 game, get home court advantage back. But actually, when it comes to the Spurs, you got to beat them twice in San Antonio. And I don't think Minnesota has it in them because they don't have the bodies that are there. Look at all the names that Andrew named there that have either been hurt or not going to play, have been missing time. Anthony Edwards, their star player, more than likely out game 1, more than likely out game 2 as well. And if he does come back game 2, he's not going to be 100%. Dante DiVincenzo, who's always given the Spurs fits. Kyle Anderson, slow-mo, former Spur, very cerebral player. Guy's a veteran, missing a lot of time. Gobert has missed time this year. He's come back.
And look at this video, Mike. They show a video of DiVincenzo getting off the bus. He's here in San Antonio.
That's so sad. He's such a good player, man. DiVincenzo, is he on crutches?
Now he's got that little boot on, and you got to put your knee on that little scooter, because he's dealing with that injury.
That Achilles injury, he's going to be out for not only the playoffs, he's going to be out most of next year as well.
Yeah.
You don't bounce back from that right away.
But nonetheless, it's good to see him traveling with the team, supporting his teammates,
Right. And then you see Anthony Edwards stumble on in.
Yeah.
Limp on in.
We are going to talk about the Kentucky Derby at some point, Mike.
Oh, that was great, man. That was the most exciting 2 minutes in all of sports, the Kentucky Derby.
Wasn't that the horse that was last? He won the race.
Yeah, and it's so funny because when you watch it from the overhead view, the horse that won the 152nd Kentucky Derby, by the way, up 11% according to this this post here in ratings. It was last place going down the final turn, and it had a clear path. It's like it did. Usually, when you fall behind in a horse race, you have a hard time catching up because you've got butts in front of you, and you got to wiggle your way through them. He had a clear. It parted like the Red Sea, clear path, and he just gained more straight. Jose Ortiz as the jockey, who's a fantastic jockey, the first female to ever have to win as a trainer in the Kentucky Derby.
That's what Jen Noriega was saying. So shout out to Jen, Alex's better half there, and she was saying it was Golden Temple who had won.
Yeah, Golden Temple, 23-1 odds, man.
Yeah.
The trifecta, $1 trifecta, paid out almost $12,000.
Can you imagine if you had made a bet on that horse?
Yeah, just picking the top three. Just picking the top three, $12,000.
Yeah.
Very cool. Now Golden Temple was interesting, and then to go off and see that he had a female trainer win for the first time ever. That's a male-dominated sport.
It is.
By far. It's 99.999999% male. You go out, 99% of the jockeys are men as well. 99% of the trainers, 99% of the owners. So that was pretty cool. And what's funny is that I don't know if you saw the video of her cheering her horse on, Golden Tempo, down the stretch, but she could eyeball which one was her horse.
Yeah.
And obviously her horse was designed to kick down the stretch, but to kick past 19 other horses was pretty bizarre. Did you know 19 of the 20 horses that were in the Kentucky Derby had the same grandpa, which was Secretariat?
Secretariat.
I told you guys
go,
that.
Mike.
Coming down the stretch. Look at that. On the outside. Like Eminem sang back in the day. Round the outside, round the outside.
Round the outside. Here we come. Golden Tempo by a nose.
Golden Tempo by a nose. Golden Tempo is in last place right there, going around the final turn, the final furlong, which is an eighth of a mile. So you see the big white pole that pops up. That's an eighth of a mile marker there. And the dude's in last place right there. But look at the angle that he takes right here. He goes outward and cuts on through. There's a quarter-mile pole right there. This is great, man. This is on my bucket list to go watch. This is all courtesy of NBC Sports and Peacock. Yeah. But the favorites never win at the Kentucky Derby. No. There's just too many horses there. And as they go on to the Preakness and to the Belmont, fewer and fewer horses take part. The Belmont's the hardest one to win, though, because it's a deeper surface and also because it's a longer race. This is
what do they call that, Mike, when the horse wins 3 races in a row?
Triple Crown.
The Triple Crown. There you go.
They're all Triple Crown. They're all like majors in sports. the Belmont, the Preakness in Maryland, the Belmont out of New York. What's funny about the Belmont though is that you get a lot of upsets on the Belmont because the surface is so deep, the dirt is it's deeper, it's harder for them to run, and it's also a longer race. But here they are around the outside.
You can tell they're starting to fade, the horses, man. They're tired.
Yeah, and it's not only because of the length of the race, which is over a mile, but it's also because of the number of horses that are there. But you saw these two horses that look, that's the eighth of a mile marker right there. You see them going head to head, but they don't see on the outside two other horses coming on in.
Yeah.
And look at the one who came in second, how he congratulated the winner. The one who was in second place immediately starts congratulating the winner, starts raising his hand up, Jose Ortiz, starts waving his hands up. Great sportsmanship there.
Yeah. He
Fantastic.
said that was a hell of a race, probably, you know?
Yeah.
Hell of
Yeah.
a race. Hey, we
One
got
by
incoming
nose.
and super chat right here we got to get to.
Here comes the money.
And Tony Ornelas, he's giving us a $4.99 super chat, and he says Timberwolves will be physical with Wemby soon. Spurs need to be ready to match the physicality, and I agree with that. You know, and this is a thing too. Just don't forget that, like, not even a day ago, Spurs had a pep rally, man. It was a big how to do. All the Spurs fans shelled out for that. That's pretty good. And they were doing the clap, Mike, the one that you like doing so much.
Yeah, and they played Y'all Ready for This as well. Someone tagged me on that.
Ding, 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 ding. Y'all ready for this? And Mike just rolls his eyes.
That's funny.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Notice how Andrew, when talking to us a few minutes ago about the Spurs T-Wolves and previewing it from the T-Wolves perspective, when I asked him the question, what are you guys looking into, like keys to victory? He didn't key in on Wemby. He said Wemby's going to get his points. He's going to get his stats. He's going to do his thing. It's about the guard play. It's about Fox. It's about Castle. It's about Harper. It's about Devin Vassell. Found that to be interesting for him to point that out.
And Tony said made up for his $2 grito.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Sean
Animal
Quintero
version
says,
of NASCAR is what they're calling the Kentucky Derby. What are they, Mike? They're animals.
They're animals. It's just animals.
They'll be fine. Oh, my God. That was probably your best lines you ever said on here. And they showed the pictures of the dogs outside getting wet. They're animals. They'll be fine.
That's funny. Let's show some love
we're
to our
gonna
good
be put
friends
to
over
work,
at
Mike. When I go visit you over there in 4th of July, Chica's already said she's putting me to work.
Yeah, Chica says you're not going to come over to Conroe, to our new house, to just enjoy the pool and hang out and lounge out. She's going to put your ass to work, man. She's going to say, here, hang this up, move this piece of furniture.
You know,
It ain't
long as
free, dude.
as long as
It
she
ain't
feeds
free.
me, I'll do what she needs. I'm there for Chica's cooking, Mike.
Yeah, Joe says as long as you feed him, he'll do whatever you ask.
She's gonna have us hanging pictures and moving stuff. I already know it.
Very cool. Let's show some love to our good friends over at Hard Rock Cafe San Antonio.
The Hard Rock Cafe, San Antonio, is Riverwalk dining at its best. With great scenic views, along with its amazing collection of rock memorabilia, there is something for everyone. Enjoy happy hour weekdays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. with $8 and $10 appetizers, $5 domestic drafts, and $6 craft import drafts at the bar only. Try some of the Hard Rock Cafe's legendary steak burgers, or my personal favorite, such as the grilled salmon or baby back ribs. Make sure to visit the 3rd level and enjoy the DJ as you take in the city skyline. The Hard Rock Cafe is a proud sponsor of the Area 210 podcast. There you go. Thank you. Shout out to the Hard Rock Cafe San Antonio, proud sponsor of the Area 210 podcast. Greatly appreciate them and their support. And speaking of support, we're going to need you guys to come out for our last event here for the Hard Rock Cafe. We need to go ahead and have a good showing. So you need to go out and join us when we have our NBA draft party coming up here in June. We need to go ahead and have a good showing for that. And, you know, and the final event that we have there with the Hard Rock Cafe with the bang, you know.
Mm-hmm. It's after the NBA Finals, so I should be back from my honeymoon from then at that point.
Yeah.
But no, it's great times. Man. I love Hard Rock Cafe. They did a fantastic job hosting the events over there. Why is everybody talking about Jacob Toby? What's his name, Joe?
Gone.
Toe. I hope not, man. I
Gone.
like Jacob Toby.
Well, they're getting the shine box, Mike, because it's not going to be the same next year. Like I've been trying to tell people, man, like what's going to happen with these the rights, the streaming rights, is they're going to get picked up by some other platform. They can't be picked up by the Peacock. They can't be picked up by ESPN, and they can't be picked up by Amazon Prime. It's going to have to be a new contender that's going to be able to house the regional sports package, because a lot of these games that they show, these Spurs games, are games that they're not showing on the national TV stage. Some they can pick up a game in here and there, but they don't have the rights to stream these games for an entire season. It'll be regional, yes, but it's also going to be up to that, let's say, streaming service that picks this up to kind of hire their own people. Will they hire them again? Probably. They could if they wanted to, but we don't really know what's going to happen.
And that's why I don't think he's going to be gone, because it sounds to me like they're going to have to interview for their old job back.
Yeah, exactly.
Is basically it, because Peacock and Amazon and even to some extent ESPN, they don't have the ability to play. I mean, there's sometimes we have 14, 15 games going on in the NBA at one night. They're not going to be able to have that reach out there. They need to have a local market do their thing, right? It's probably going to be Jacob Toby and Sean Elliott, but it's going to be a different version of them. They're not. I don't see them going out there and eating at the start of the second half. Thank God that segment's over. And Spurs fans right now complaining that they're having to watch playoff games without Jacob Toby and Sean Elliott need to get over it, man. It's a nationally televised game at this point.
Yeah,
it's not local. It's not Fubo. It's not the zone. You need to have the understanding that it's a corporate game. It's a national game going on right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, Reggie Miller sucks, but it is what it is, man.
Let's go ahead and see what we have coming on. I think we might have some stuff in the media share, so I'll pull that up here. But we did have some upsets, Mike, over the weekend when it came to the NBA playoffs. Like we're talking about.
Joe, you and I talked about this on Friday. You and I were talking about that series between the Sixers and the Celtics. And I remember at some point you said, well, the Celtics are a better team. And I bounced back off of you on that. And I said, well, wait a minute. Are we sure about that? Because Embiid, Maxey, Paul George, and VJ Edgecombe, those are four really good players. And I was proud to see Embiid withstand injury after injury down the stretch in Game 7 against the Celtics.
Yeah.
Celtics were without Jason Tatum, who re-injured himself. Celtics should have won that game. It just proves that they weren't that good of a team.
And we had something come in the media share. It was kind of a question, I guess.
Yeah.
And they're asking, they said, how much do we think Jaylen Brown getting fined? Over under $35K.
What do you do?
Oh, he went on a rant. After the game, he went to social media, complained about the refs. He was basically complaining about Joel Embiid, out there flopping and whatnot. Embiid, he had a knee injury, right? He had a hyperextension. Then somebody hit him again. And first, somebody landed on his knee in an awkward way, kind of hurting. He still played through it. And then his teammate landed on his knee again, and he just played through it again, So they were being physical with him. And Embiid, he's known for getting these types of injuries. He still stayed in the game even though he was hurt, managed to play through it, did enough to go ahead and give his team afford his team the ability to win the game. And in hindsight, Jalen McDaniels should be mad at himself and his team for the way they played down the stretch.
Yeah.
They had a better team, but they just didn't execute. And that happens. And unfortunately for the Celtics and Celtics fans, that happened to their team, and they sent them home. They went gone fishing. And
Make a bucket. If you're down one, all you need is two. Why are they chucking up three after three? I don't understand.
I don't know if you saw this or not, but you know how they do that inside the NBA and they do the gone fishing kind of thing, right?
I did see this.
Dude, they have no chill, man. They have no chill, Mike. And this is courtesy of awful announcing. And this is what Inside the NBA did to the Celtics. Look how they have at the front of the boat.
Yeah, doing the Titanic pose, Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini.
Oh my god, dude. Oh, look at that. They have Marky Mark.
They have Marky Mark. They have the dude from The Office.
Yeah. That's pretty funny, dude. But I
That's
thought that was, I got a kick out of that. I said, Mike's gonna love this one, dude.
Did you know she has a standing job offer right now?
Yeah, I do.
Stugatz, John Wiener's Stugatz from the Dan Lebatard show
Gotta-
says that he'd hire her in a heartbeat.
Yeah, gotta pay the bills, Mike. Gotta pay them bills. They ain't gonna pay themselves.
And nothing's going to happen to Vrabel.
Oh,
The
no,
players
man.
have said that he addressed it and then they moved on.
But you know what? There was some moves though being made already. You know, NBA coach, should I say, got his walking papers already.
And
man.
Orlando's
Yeah. What's his name?
gone.
Gone.
Hey, Drew, go on my Twitter account. I
Yeah.
posted video of the NFL draft from
Yeah.
last week
Oh, I saw. Was
And-
it the
and when the-
reaction?
when the Cowboys moved up
Yeah.
or actually moved down from 20 to 23.
I have that too.
Yeah, so I found that to be interesting. NFL Films has the breakdown of
Yeah.
the trade as it happened, like in real time.
This
And he
is
had
it.
Jerry Jones there, Stephen Jones. What I liked about it is a couple of things. You saw that it was Stephen Jones making the decision, not Jerry.
Yeah.
And this was them pulling off a trade there with Philadelphia, if I'm not mistaken, to slide back down from 20 to 23 to
This
pick up
one-
some more draft capital.
I believe this one was with Minnesota, but this was in real time, showing you the shenanigans, not shenanigans, but the deal that was happening behind the scenes. And this was really interesting, Mike.
Well, the first thing we'll find out if Miami wants Downs.
But they might like to pick more than Downs.
That might, but if they don't like Downs,
The question
if
is,
we're
what would
reading
you
with
give
us-
to go one spot? It's 50 on the chart, which is a fifth.
Well, I would if I thought Miami was going to take Downs
you'd
and
have
we
to-
want Downs. Now I'd get serious about some points, but
You could give 2/5, and
if I'm Miami, why doesn't Miami sitting there with us? We've had as much written about us and Downs as anybody there is in this draft. We knew it was a long shot if we stayed at 12. He certainly was one of 4 players that we had that we were ready to put some ammo to go up to get.
hey, Kyle, this is Stephen Jones.
Hey, Stephen, how are you, man?
Right here in Dallas, one behind you. Wondering, are y'all going to pick away, or would you be
What are you
interested?
guys?
We
What are you guys looking?
we'd probably throw in our fifth plus something. Go one spot.
5 plus. No, we're gonna stay.
Okay.
We're gonna pick.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right.
No good.
Miami is using all of its time here.
I really didn't think.
And
that
by this
Miami,
time,
in
they're
this
still on the
particular
clock.
case, Was going to draft him, but I didn't doubt a minute that somebody else would come over and trade Miami out of that spot and get him right out from under us. It wasn't a hard decision to go ahead and up the ante and make sure we had him.
The league in general, had that feeling that, players. So, we just decided to pull the trigger there and send the 2 5s.
Hold on, here, Steve. They'll move back one spot.
You'll move back one spot for a 5? Yeah. No, we do 177, 180 if it's 2 5s. Okay, we got it. Trade in. Hold on, guys. Please be quiet.
Hello, it's Ken.
Hey, this is Steven.
Hey, Steven.
We're giving them our pick, number 12, and we're giving them 177, 180. Miami.
Okay, yep.
Are we good?
Yes.
Turn it in.
You have a deal.
Well, it's
You
not-
go.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't. We're on the clock. It's
We're on
fine.
the
We got
clock.
plenty of time.
They're turning it in. We got 10 seconds, 2 seconds.
Then it's
One.
us on the clock.
Then it's
us
us.
on the clock.
Better hurry up and get it in.
Dallas has submitted its pick. Miami is on the clock.
Caleb?
Dude, they made their selection with 10 seconds left.
Okay, first of all, I am not a Cowboys fan, but I respect everything that went down on there because they got their guy. And I told you before the draft started, Joe, that one of the ones I was most fascinated by, and I said that if the Cowboys managed to get this guy, it would be a home run. It was Caleb Downs. I was like, that guy screams Dallas Cowboy. Like what it would take to turn that defense around. You need to have an alpha on the team. You need to have somebody on the team that can play in the secondary. And I know they need edge rushers and all that stuff, but man, Caleb Downs is the man, and they got him. And they moved up from 12 to 11 to get him. And then later on, when they slid down from 20 to 23, kind of controversial because they did business with the Eagles on that, and the Eagles ended up getting the wide receiver that they wanted. But the Cowboys picked up 2 4th-rounders for that, and they made up for the draft capital they lost in the Caleb Downs situation to move up. In fact, they actually improved that because they give up 2 5s, but they get 2 4s instead to move back 3 spots. I thought the Cowboys had a fantastic draft. I'm not saying that they're going to be back this year. It's probably going to take a year or 2 for them to get better, defensively anyway. But getting Caleb Downs was a big, big deal, man. We're going to look back at this draft and think to themselves that if the Cowboys did turn things around, it was because of that move right there. And Steven was in charge. And they liked their guy. They went and got their guy. They got their guy. They didn't say, we're going to sit here and hope that he falls to us. They got their guy, and they looked at the price. They overpaid, though, because you notice how that guy said it's a 50-pointer. Every draft position has a point value to it. They paid 100 points to move up, even though it's a 50-point move up. So they overpaid, but they got their guy. So I respect it.
It was an interesting perspective to see, like how close they actually cut it. Right? They were out there trying to make the deal while Miami was on the clock. They get the deal done. Then they got 10 seconds to make their selection and get it in. And even the guy that was there, from the NFL, he's like, well, they got to get their selection in. He knew how close it was. I mean, they barely got it, Mike. Can you imagine making that deal and then the time expired and you didn't even pick anybody?
Yeah, well, the other two would have to be sitting there locked and loaded, ready to pick.
Yeah.
So it's not one of those things where they were gonna like necessarily miss it at that second. But they got it in on time. They pulled the trigger one time. They fired the one blank. They said, hey, we'll give a 5th rounder. They got rejected. They reassessed and they said, how badly do we want Caleb Downs to make sure that he's going to be part of this team? And Jerry Jones said that they had keyed in on 4 players. How many of those 4 were still remaining? Because if 3 of them were done, and they had really keyed in on 4, something tells me that Caleb Downs was the last one they had keyed on.
Yeah.
Because they could have gone, well, we like these 2 guys the most. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they would have held back. But if that was one of their 4 guys that they keyed on and the other 3 were gone, they had to do what they had to do to make it happen. They sweetened the pot by adding that 2nd, 5th rounder, and I respect it.
We got the latest Shams update. Everybody in the chat was telling us.
Yeah, says was a significant participant in the T-Wolves shoot around this morning and wants to return in Game 1 against the Spurs. Sources tell ESPN Edwards is pushing to play, but he and the team's medical staff will make a decision later today. All right. Game time decision.
Game time decision. I think it's going to be a ploy. That's what they did with Wemby. When he was supposed to play in Portland, and I believe it was in Game 3, right? It was Game 3, and they were like, you know what? Game time decision came, and what did they say? Nah, he's not going to play. He's all right.
He's all right.
And they sat him, So
yeah,
I think that's probably.
I don't think he's going to play today.
No,
I don't think he's going to play today.
I saw this though. They wanted to talk about MLB, but we're not going to really talk about MLB. I just want to show a video because it is May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. If you're a Star Wars fan, I thought this was cool, Mike. They turned the bats into lightsabers, man. There you go.
Who did that?
MLB in Europe. They're the ones that did this. Thought that was a good touch, man. For May the 4th be with you,
Everyone asking the question, are we going to talk baseball after the Spurs season ends?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and the Dallas.
And we already know the Astros suck and the Rangers are playing 500 balls. So
yeah, Dallas Cowboys did something.
Yeah.
I thought this was cool.
The sum total of their stars make up the galaxy. They are the Dallas Cowboys, America's team.
America's team, Mike. America's team.
Haven't done crap in 30 years, man, but they got Caleb down. So hope. There's always hope, man. What did they say in the movie Shawshank Redemption? Hope is a good thing, maybe the greatest of things.
Yeah. I thought it was cool, man. I like to see stuff like this, man. It's cool, man. It's celebrating, May the 4th, which is again notoriously Star Wars Day. So they have a whole bunch of stuff happening today for May the 4th. I know they're doing stuff around town as well. And some of these professional sports teams are going to be, having some special touches or at the games today. I also heard this, Mike.
Yeah, go ahead.
Look at this blast from the past. So, I mean, we're not really big on ESPN, but Skip Bayless and Stephen A, notoriously split, right? And Skip went on to do his show on Fox, and Stephen A went on with Max Kellerman. But I guess they've reconciled their differences. So now Skip Bayless is actually going to make an appearance on First Take this Friday.
That's great.
Right? And that's
great.
He's going to be a guest, but it's good that, they kind of reconciled a little bit here because there have been some bad blood between them both for some time. But you like to see something like this happen,
No, I'll watch that. That's
Yeah.
amazing. It's one of those things where Stephen A. Smith is such a narcissist that he cannot have someone
outshine
check him, outshine him, check him on knowledge or whatever the case is. That's why Max Kellerman was gone.
Yeah.
Max Kellerman would actually hit him with X's and O's, and Stephen A. was on the ropes half the time, and he didn't like it, right? He moved on. But the best that show ever was when it had Stephen A. Smith with Skip Bayless. That's the best it ever was. Some people hated it, and I couldn't watch it every day, but every once in a while the fireworks would light up, and it was a fun show to watch. I'm going to look forward to that, man. That's great. And we're going to see Skip jump on the Spurs bandwagon yet again.
Skip, he's always having something to say about the San Antonio Spurs. He's like, at this point, are you really even a fan, dude?
Yeah.
Like, go away. Go away.
That's
and we
funny.
did actually do a poll earlier today, too, here on the chat, throw that out there for everybody. Just go ahead and have them vote on it and see where it was at right now. We're getting the pulse, So I'm going to go ahead and show this on here. We'll show this on screen. And these are the latest results from the poll that we just, put out here during the show. And I said, who do you got winning the series, Spurs fans? Spurs or Timberwolves? Overwhelmingly, San Antonio Spurs fan is confident and arrogant, Mike, just like the team. 95%, 96% now have the Spurs winning the series against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Only 4% said that the Wolves would win.
Yeah, the Spurs should get this. Should get this. I mean, let's just call it what it is. The Spurs are the more talented team. They're the healthier team. They're the deeper team. Spurs should roll in this series. I'm going to call it. I know that we had Andrew on there, Dukowitz, earlier from our T-Wolves insider, say that he believes it's in 6 or 7. I still believe it's a gentleman's sweep. I believe it's in 5. Spurs, I was right the first series. I said the Spurs would win game 1, lose game 2, win 3, 4, and 5. I think the Spurs win both games at home. I think the Spurs lose game 3, win 4 and 5, gentleman's sweep.
Jeez. Got the latest numbers here, Mike. And this is going to be courtesy of Yahoo Sports of how many people actually tuned in to actually watch the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
19.6 million average viewers. NBC delivered the most watched Kentucky Derby on record. And you know who was rushing to Alex's house to see the Kentucky Derby? Mr. Sean Quintero, man. He really wanted to see the race. He wanted to see it live. And I understand that, because you can watch the replay, but it's not the same.
It's not.
It's not the same.
And what they call it? NASCAR with animals?
NASCAR with animals.
They need to have like Tide and the advertising on it, not the numbers. Just give them the
branding.
The branding. Spray paint, Tide, Rocket Mortgage, whatever the case may be.
Mellow Yellow.
Mellow Yellow, like Days of Thunder.
Elmer's Glue, put it on one of them. Elmer's Glue.
Joe, I got to get going, man. My phone has been blowing up from work, but if you want to make more money, give me a call at 210-508-0369. 210-508-0369. I've been doing investments and insurances for 21 years. My phone is blowing off right now. People wanting to get some coverage for whatever. Give me a call, 210-508-0369. And if you have a financial advisor that you know that might need a new home, they can come work with me. I can give them a home. 210-508-0369. Joe, I got to get back to work, my man.
Yes, sir.
Spurs tonight, 8:30 tip-off, 14-point favorites against the T-Wolves. I say the Spurs win tonight, but they win by 7.
All right. I say they win by 10.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
We both say T-Wolves cover, though.
Yeah.
Very nice.
All right. We'll see
We'll be
you
back
boys tomorrow.
Go
You have a
Spurs,
good
go
one.
Spurs in 5.